Imagine standing on Earth 300 years from now. The sky is blue. The oceans are recovering. Forests stretch across continents once covered by mines. The air feels cleaner than it has in centuries. And above you, the night sky is alive. Thousands of bright moving lights orbit Earth, not satellites, factories, cities, refineries, shipyards. Entire industrial civilizations floating silently in orbit. Humanity still builds, still grows, still creates. But the machines are no longer here, because one day we realized something terrifying. Earth was never designed to survive industrial civilization forever. And if humanity wanted to keep growing, industry had to leave. This is the story of the greatest migration in human history. Not the migration of people, the migration of civilization itself. The hidden problem of civilization, human civilization, is built from rocks. That sounds absurd, but it is true. Everything around you, phones, cars, buildings, computers, solar panels, power plants, cities, all of it began as stone. We take pieces of Earth, break them apart, melt them, refine them, reshape them, and call it civilization. Modern humanity survives by moving mountains, literally. Every year humanity extracts tens of billions of tons of material from Earth. Iron, copper, nickel, lithium, rare earth elements, sand, coal, oil, cement ingredients. Industrial civilization is not digital. It is geological, and geology has limits because Earth is not infinite. Worse, the easiest resources disappear first. Human history quietly follows a pattern. We always take the best first. The richest ores, the shallowest mines, the easiest oil, the most accessible deposits. Then we move deeper, farther, harder, more expensive. Civilization advances by consuming increasing amounts of effort for smaller returns. And eventually this becomes dangerous because population grows, technology expands, energy demand rises. Infrastructure multiplies, AI systems consume power, cities spread, space programs begin, every generation needs more material than the last. Humanity is becoming heavier. Planetary civilization is entering adulthood, and adults consume resources, a lot of them. The uncomfortable truth is this: Earth may support billions of humans. But can it support billions living at post-industrial abundance forever? That question changes everything. The industrial paradox: industrial civilization gave humanity miracles. Life expectancy exploded, extreme poverty collapsed, knowledge spread globally, technology accelerated, but every miracle had a price. Industry transforms landscapes, mining reshapes continents. Steel requires energy. Concrete releases carbon, manufacturing creates waste, extraction damages ecosystems. Civilization became powerful by externalizing costs we borrowed from Earth. For centuries, and now the bill is arriving. Yet here is the paradox: stopping industrial growth is impossible. Humanity will not voluntarily become smaller. Developing nations will industrialize. Populations will seek prosperity. Energy demand will rise. Technology will expand. Space exploration will accelerate. Growth is not optional. It is civilization's operating system. So humanity faces an impossible choice. Continue growing and strain Earth, or stop growing and stagnate. But there may be a third option: move industry, not metaphorically, physically. Move it off-world. At first this sounds insane. Space factories, orbital mining, industrial stations. It sounds like science fiction until you realize something astonishing. Earth is not the resource center of the solar system. Earth is the tiny exception. The solar system is made of resources. Look up at the night sky. What do you see? Stars, darkness, distance. But hidden in that darkness is absurd wealth. The asteroid belt alone contains unimaginable quantities of metal: nickel, iron, cobalt, platinum, gold, rare elements. Some metallic asteroids contain concentrations impossible on Earth. One asteroid could hold more accessible metal than humanity has mined in all history. Think about that. Entire civilizations worth of material floating freely in space. No ecosystems to destroy, no oceans to pollute, no forests to remove, no species displaced, just raw matter waiting. And asteroids are only the beginning. The moon contains industrial potential. Near-Earth objects contain resources. Mars holds minerals. Outer system bodies contain water and volatiles. Space is not empty, it is storage. Humanity grew up believing Earth was everything. It is not. Earth is one island in an ocean of resources, a beautiful island, a rare island. Possibly a sacred island. And perhaps that changes our responsibility. Because if nearly infinite material exists elsewhere, why keep tearing apart the one world that made us? Why space is better for industry, heavy industry on Earth fights physics constantly. Gravity, atmosphere, weather, corrosion, transportation, environmental constraints, launch costs, heat management. Everything costs energy. Everything fights back. Space changes the rules. Microgravity enables manufacturing impossible on Earth. Vacuum environments aid production. Solar energy becomes abundant. No atmosphere means uninterrupted sunlight. Gigantic structures become easier. Orbital assembly scales differently. And most importantly, you stop lifting resources out of gravity wells. Earth's gravity is expensive, very expensive. Every kilogram launched to orbit costs energy. Immense energy. Earth is beautiful, but from an industrial perspective, it is a deep hole. Imagine mining metal already floating in space. No lifting, no escape velocity, no mountains to move. The economics change completely. Industry stops climbing uphill. Civilization begins building downhill. And once this starts, growth accelerates. Because orbital industry does not merely replace Earth industry, it multiplies it. The first orbital economies, the transition will not happen all at once. It begins quietly. Small factories in orbit, advanced materials, microgravity pharmaceuticals, semiconductor manufacturing. Fiber optics, precision systems, high-value products first. Always, human expansion follows economics, not dreams. Then larger systems emerge. Orbital smelters, automated refineries. Construction docks, robotic assembly platforms, solar power stations, fuel depots, resource processing hubs. Eventually, entire industrial ecosystems, machines building machines. Factories feeding factories, supply chains detached from Earth. And humans, mostly supervisors, AI and robotics dominate because orbit is hostile, vacuum kills, radiation harms. Distance complicates everything. Machines will go first. Human workers arrive later. Just as industrial robots transformed Earth, autonomous industry transforms space. The first orbital factory may employ 10 humans. The 1,000th may employ none. And slowly, civilization's center of production rises upward. The Great Resource Migration history remembers migrations of people. Hunter-gatherers, agricultural revolutions, urbanization, global trade, digital migration. But the greatest migration may not involve humans moving. It may involve infrastructure moving. Imagine the future timeline. First, mines close, because asteroid metals become cheaper. Steel production moves upward. Refining relocates, heavy manufacturing follows, launch systems improve, orbital energy expands, Earth becomes less industrial, cleaner, quieter, greener. Humanity begins separating worlds by purpose. Earth becomes habitation, orbit becomes industry, space becomes expansion. For the first time in history, growth and preservation stop being enemies. You no longer choose civilization or nature. You choose both. This may be one of humanity's greatest inventions, not technology, separation. Separating where humans live from where civilization extracts. Because Earth has been both home and factory. Perhaps it should only remain home. Building the industrial sky, now imagine looking upward centuries ahead. Orbital rings encircle Earth. Solar collectors span hundreds of kilometers. Factory habitats glow against darkness. Mass drivers launch resources silently. Construction yards assemble interplanetary ships. Artificial gravity stations rotate slowly. Cargo streams move continuously. The sky itself becomes infrastructure. Humanity transforms near-Earth space into an industrial ecosystem. And suddenly, megaprojects become possible. Space telescopes larger than cities. Planetary defense systems. Climate engineering infrastructure. Interstellar probes, habitats for millions. None possible using Earth-only industry, because Earth industry is limited by Earth. Space industry scales with the solar system. That difference is enormous. One world versus billions, finite versus astronomical. Civilization changes category, humanity stops being planetary. It becomes spatial. The ethical revolution, but something deeper happens. Industrial migration changes ethics. For thousands of years, humans saw nature as resource. Forest equals timber. Mountain equals ore. River equals energy. Civilization converted ecosystems into inventory because survival demanded it. But what happens when resources become effectively unlimited? What happens when asteroid metals exceed planetary demand? Scarcity changes, and ethics change with it. Perhaps forests stop being lumber. Perhaps mountains stop being mines. Perhaps Earth stops being inventory. Imagine future children asking, "You used to dig giant holes in Earth for metal," and adults answering, "Yes, even though asteroids existed." Yes, the child pauses, confused. Because the idea feels primitive, the same way burning wood inside houses feels primitive today. Civilization evolves morally when constraints change, and orbital industry changes constraints. For the first time, preservation becomes affordable. The resistance but transitions are never smooth. Industrial migration will face opposition, economic disruption, political resistance. Corporate conflict, resource monopolies, labor displacement, technological inequality. Space infrastructure requires immense investment. Nations compete, corporations race, power shifts. Entire industries disappear. History repeats. Every revolution creates winners and losers. Agriculture changed humanity. Industry changed humanity. Computers changed humanity. Orbital civilization changes humanity again. People fear change. Always, steam engines frightened workers. Electricity frightened cities. AI frightens modern society. Space industry will frighten Earth economies because it rewrites value itself. And yet, civilization rarely asks permission before transforming. It simply continues. The CIVILIZATIONAL test here is the uncomfortable possibility. Humanity may have reached a developmental checkpoint, a civilization test. Can intelligence expand without destroying its birthplace? Many species alter environments. Humans industrialize them. We became geological agents, planetary engineers, climate influencers, resource managers. The question is no longer, can humanity grow? The question is, can humanity grow responsibly? Perhaps advanced civilizations survive by exporting industry. Perhaps every long-lived civilization eventually preserves its homeworld. Perhaps planetary maturity means leaving extraction behind. If alien civilizations exist, maybe this is what they did. Maybe their worlds became gardens while their industries moved into space. Maybe technological adulthood always looks like this. Not bigger cities, bigger skies. Earth the garden world, picture Earth one final time, not future Earth as apocalypse, future Earth as recovery. Former mining regions rewilded, species returning, rivers restored, massive forests regenerated, cities cleaner, energy abundant, industry mostly absent. Earth becomes humanity's archive. Its birthplace, its memory, its sanctuary. The factories are still there, the machines still work. Civilization still grows, but growth happens elsewhere. The planet breathes again. Humanity finally learns something difficult. Home should not be consumed. Home should be protected. And perhaps that realization only becomes possible after we stop needing Earth for everything. Ending the great resource migration may sound impossible. So did agriculture once. So did cities. So did flight. So did the internet. Humanity repeatedly turns impossibility into infrastructure. The real question is not whether orbital industry will happen. The real question is when, because civilization keeps growing, and Earth remains finite. One day humanity may look upward and see the engines of civilization shining among the stars, not as symbols of escape, but responsibility. The moment we moved industry into orbit may become the moment Earth stopped being a resource and became home.